Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Barrett. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. Shout out to my fellow Marines in the HALO series. On behalf of the Paramount Veterans Network, we bring you another impactful virtual coffee with vets. Today, we welcome HALO cast member Bentley Kalu, who plays Vannak, a Spartan. Today's session will be moderated by Paramount Veterans Network's Will Gaucher, an Army veteran and media creative. Today's conversation will cover HALO the series, Black excellence, resiliency, and the arts. Thank you for joining us, and please welcome Will and Bentley.
Thank you for the warm introduction, Chris, and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Vets. I'm thrilled to be joined with one of the stars of Paramount Plus hit show HALO, Bentley Kalu. Bentley, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thanks, William. Thanks, Chris. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Let's get right into it. So, Bentley, what role did the arts and theater play in your life growing up?
Yeah, well, a very poignant role that theater especially had, me growing up, you know, being a young kid and being susceptible to peer pressure. Everybody wanted to be a fighter or a footballer, you know, or a boxer, you know, and here I am going to like theater class, dancing ballet, you know. They're looking at me like, yo, what are you doing? But I tell you what, it took me so far out of my comfort zone. It gave me what I would call like an amazing amount of self-confidence that a lot of my peers actually didn't have at that age. So I think it was really, you know, you can get away from the real world and go into this imaginary world, and it gives you just an amazing amount of confidence. You believe that you can just do anything.
Man, that's such a powerful message too, and to be able to look at that from that specific angle at such a young age, that is a gift, brother. That is amazing, and obviously it gave you good fruit and belief in yourself.
Oh, sure did. Sure did. Actually, at a point, it gave me too much belief, and I had to scale it back a little bit.
Scale it back, roll it back in, because we are out there on the forefront. That's amazing. Well, being a part of futuristic military forces in the show, what connections do you have to the military, and also what sort of training research went into your preparation for this role?
I would say for me, it was more the research and preparation. And I just got to say that I appreciate you guys so much. So it's a real pleasure and honor for me to be here. To be totally honest with you, it's my pleasure. I'm really happy to be here. You know, I've interacted on different projects, not just HALO, with a lot of Navy SEALs, um, you know, black ops, sort of like guerrilla operatives that go to like war-torn countries like Brazil, South Africa, Liberia, Nigeria. And they have had interactions with child soldiers, you know? So people who have been to really dark places, and you sit down and you have conversations with these guys. And you know the funny thing? The darker the experience, the nicer the person, you know? It's like some of these guys are the nicest people on the planet, you know? And when we're prepping and, you know, we're doing our drills, we might be doing live tactical ambush, you know, drills, and then we sleep in the forest. So certain project that I've done, we actually live like they live. I mean, we couldn't do anything close to what they did, but we try to simulate it as much as possible. And you go through the whole experience for about, let's say, 4 days. It's a boot camp. And then you come out with a renewed humility, you know, to understand what these guys go through. And then we're singing together, you know. This is so funny, you know. So for me, it's more, I don't have any personal connection in my family to the military, but it's my prep and my research. For HALO, I was working with a couple of Navy SEALs, and weapons training that we did and the stories that they told me. And some of them, you talking about, Vannak and Master Chief's kill count. Some of these guys, put us to
Perfect mirror.
shame. Honestly. But yeah, it's more the research for me. But again, I have a reverence and a deep respect for the military. Anybody that can do that, because we're doing make believe. You guys are the real deal. So yeah.
Something that you had said earlier in there is that the darker places that they have been, maybe physically or mentally, emotionally, that light just shines out, because light is going to jump out the darkness. So
Yeah.
that's just
Absolutely.
really amazing perspective to have, going into this show.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about the show in itself is for the people playing Spartans, because we had to be in that armor. The armor, and I always say the armor is it's like an opponent, you know? Let's say you go and okay, look at it this way. Let's say you go to have a fight against an opponent. You have to respect the opponent. You can't go in there arrogant. So when you look at that suit, you have to go in that suit with humility, and a sort of like a centered awareness, being grounded and not being, so you don't have too much anxiety, because any hint of anxiety you have, the suit's going to pick up on it and it's going to break you. And it breaks, it breaks you very quickly. Like, you'll be amazed within 6 minutes, you will feel like you just ran a marathon. It's insane. So it's similar to that. It's sort of like respecting it, and it will treat you well. So it's a dance. It's a very, very fine, subtle dance that you have to, finesse to get the best out of the suit.
Yes. And speaking about finessing, how important are artist pursuits and cultural outlets, meaning the theaters, the museums, galleries, in creating a vibrant, thriving community?
I think very, very important, because we are, especially at an impressionable age, at a young impressionable age, you're easily influenced, and we all hope that the young guys, they grow up in the right environment and have the right crowd around them to make the right choices in life. But the arts, museums, cultural outlets, it's almost like putting spice into your brain, you know? So it takes you away from mundane, normal stuff, and takes you into, it's almost like mixing an ingredient in your mind that produces something that's with a lot of flavor, when you interact with those certain places. And even having cultural events in schools, theater plays, these things really open up a side of you that, because we're all born kids, we're all born with no limits, no boundaries, and we're so free and we're so curious as kids. But you get older as adults, and you start having these blocks in front of you. Society puts blocks, or your parents put blocks in front of you, and I don't want to use the word programmed, but you're kind of like guided, towards one path. But I think these other outlets open you up to explore different, areas of yourself.
Wow.
I
That
hope that makes sense, by the way, because I was rambling on.
is no rambling at all. You were hitting that question right on its point. And the reason I had said, speaking of finesse, because sometimes we know we have to finagle things in the arts because they're under attack constantly, with funding, underfunding, and just the availability for people to express themselves, like how you said, putting that spice, putting that extra creativeness into the world. So no, you hit the question right on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
So coming back to the show, how much did the Halo games and the books influence your character?
Well, I did play a lot of Halo Combat Evolved, um, in my early years. I played a bit of Halo 2. Prepping for the show, I went back and revisited a bit of the games. And what I tried not to do was to immerse myself too much into the games, so that what would tend to happen if I did that would be me having what I've experienced in the game subconsciously seep into my body. Now I'm trying to, it would now appear gimmicky, like I'm trying to do what I saw. So I was trying to bring my own take. And I think what gave me a little bit more freedom with this character was he was never in any of the games. Vannak 134 was a character that was created for the television series. So he wasn't in any of the games. But funny, when I finished season 1, I got a lot of fan messages that says, wait a minute, you remind me of, they said, Fred on Noble 6, So apparently the way I played him, but not unbeknownst to me, because I wasn't trying to do any of that, but it reminded them. And I think they were pretty happy with what I did with him. I did what I could with what I had, and I think they were happy with the results. So I was very pleased with that, because the fans are the real boss, in my opinion, and if they're not happy, then, hey, I don't know what we're doing. So I was happy that they were happy.
Yes. If the fans aren't happy, then do we even
Yeah.
really have a show? Like, who's really watching, who's really
Exactly.
enjoying, who's pushing
Yeah.
this forward? No, that's fantastic. So speaking of your character being created for the show specifically, and we are in Black History Month still,
Yeah.
could you share the importance of portraying a person of color on screen?
Yeah, I've always said that diversity is something that's, so important in media, because media sends out a message to the world, right? How we consume things, what we listen to, what we see. And one thing that they did do on the show that I would say is they have nailed the diversity casting to a T. Season 2 is phenomenal. Like, you look, there's people of all ethnicities on the show, and I felt that, especially being one of the core teams of Spartans, Silver Team, and directly connected to the story and the lead character in the story, I felt that it was an honor for me to play a Spartan, of color. It was a challenge, only because of my buddy, the suit. It was a hell of a challenge, but it was an honor, and I was really, really pleased with what they did with the casting. And I've always said that diversity casting is great, but the person in the role has to be suitable, you know, not just diversity casting for the sake of diversity casting. You know what I mean? So when you're given a role, you know that you have a responsibility, and that's what I felt. And I felt that I had to give my soul into it and put my best foot forward, because the opportunity is there and I had to grab it. So all in all, I was happy.
Terrific. Yeah, preparation, meeting
Yeah.
that opportunity. I mean,
Yes, sir.
man, that's so good for just like how you said, the medium.
Yeah.
It can't just be diversity just for diversity's sake. The best person
Exactly.
should have the part, and you definitely
Yeah.
were the best person for this part, brother.
I appreciate it,
Just to
my
let
brother.
you
Thank you so much.
know.
Thank you, man.
Of course. In the first 24 hours that Halo was online, the pilot episode broke the record for the most watched original series premiere worldwide.
Wow.
The show only gained more momentum from then. How has it been since the show's premiere 2 years ago?
Wow. I didn't even know that. I'm just hearing that now. I would say that the feeling this time, prior to the first episode, there was something in the air, that was just insane. Because season 1, the first episode, you got to remember that we went through COVID filming that, right? So we went through 2 years of ups and downs, and it was advertised on the Super Bowl in season 1 before season 1 came out, and they had a premiere in LA before season 1 came out. We didn't have any of that for season 2. We didn't have any of that, none of that. So when season 2 came out, and there were rumblings, and there were messages I was seeing, And I said, "Oh, wait a second. I think we might be onto something." And little did I know, and of course, my fans, they rose their beautiful faces up from the from the slumber. Season 2 was coming out, and they started shooting those messages, and I was like, "Oh my God, here we go." So it was, yeah, it was pleasing, very, very satisfying, knowing the amount of effort that we put in. You know,
Yes, yes, that has to be fulfilling. All that
yeah,
work, and like I said, filming through COVID just to get up to even a premiere. I know that
yeah,
has to be a gratifying feeling, and again, that momentum is still rolling. We on season 2. I'm telling you, rolling
yes.
downhill. And you're talking about the fans and your connection with them. How has it been connecting with multiple generations of Halo fans around the world?
Yeah.
Are there any inspiring stories that you could share from
Oh,
conventions or just meet and greets?
oh man, so many, so many. Let me try to pick the best one. I I got messages from Latin America,
Hmm.
South America, Sweden, Morocco, Africa, right? And I was so overwhelmed that, believe it or not, I don't really respond too well to attention. I know you don't believe that, but it's
I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for
yeah,
it.
yeah. So I was a little bit overwhelmed, and okay, I had this, for instance, I had this one fan who sent me a message and said, "Oh, I would like you to make a video for my girl because it's her birthday. So just say happy birthday." And so, of course I did it. I did a happy birthday to his girl. And he sent me a video back of him crying because I did that.
Oh.
So it's yeah, I gotta thread carefully, I gotta thread carefully. I gotta make sure that I'm responding to as many people as I can respond to, because I don't want to. I want to affect people positively. I'm a very positive guy. You know, I don't do the doom and gloom thing. So if somebody sends me a message and I have the time, and even if I don't have the time, I try to make the time, because I figured out from the messages and the interaction with fans that this is a different type of fan base
Mhm.
than anything I've ever experienced. I've never done a video game adaptation to a television show. I've done films and television, scripted stuff, but this is very different. And I've had a couple of interactions like that. Um, that I really take my time in responding and make sure I respond with everything I have. If they ask for advice, I make sure I give it to them, and because it can be a sensitive thing. If I don't respond, I would expect to be chastised. I know this sounds crazy, right? But that's how it is.
And you know the fan base better than we do.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, they'll let you know. Yeah.
That's terrific, man. That just shows also though the power of the arts though, because he's
Yeah.
coming out just ask you for a simple video and it just meant the world to him that he's sent you one back in tears. Just
Oh, yeah.
thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Like that
Oh,
is
yeah.
that's power right there.
Yeah. 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 Vannak has been, I don't know, it's touched fans in a way that I can't explain it. I just can't explain it. Yeah. And I know that now I know it's bigger than me. And that's a blessing when something is bigger than you. So now you're twice as focused, and you give twice as much energy, because it's not all about you now. It's about something that's a lot bigger than you. So yeah, I'm humbled by it.
I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna apply that sentence to everything in my life. Thank you, brother, once again.
Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely, man.
Bigger than me. Amen. Tell us how you are alike and how you are different than your character on Halo.
Ah, that is so funny. The funny thing is, when I went for the meeting, right, and I got the script, the first time I ever sat in a meeting to actually get the role. So I sat with one of the executive producers, and I was reading about the character. He was asking me, he said, "What do you think about this character?" And I said, "You know something? This is funny because I know somebody like this in my family, right?" And he said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah." But it wasn't me, right? But I know someone like that because Vannak is he's about he's all about the mission. He's not your friend, right? And he's emotionally unavailable, right? He's only about the mission statement. And if you're with the mission statement, he'll die for you, you know? And to someone who's looking from the outside looking in, you would think, oh my God, he loves the whole, clique and he's got everybody's back. No, he's got the back of the mission. He's got the back of the mission statement. And as long as you're in line with what the mission statement is, you know, you're good, and that was who he was. So I would say I'm a little bit like that with my discipline. For example, when I'm, my craft, my training, I'm a little bit like that. So sometimes I'm of the mantra like you get up there and you do what you got to do regardless of how you feel. But that's just for me. I don't try to speak for anybody else or apply it to anybody else. So in that respect, I'm kind of similar to Vannak. Um, to flip the script, I'm a bit of a lighthearted guy, and I, I flip into different characters on set between takes. So anybody that's looking at me on set and seeing me on screen will be like, yo, that's not the same dude. So yeah. So I have similarities and a bit of differences as well. Just like that.
Terrific, terrific. You're able to keep work at work and home at home.
Oh yeah. I try to keep a balance, because you got to protect that,
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to get drawn too far into, especially if the material you have is heavy, you really need to pull yourself out of it to be able to get yourself back into it. Because if you stay in it, by the time you finish, you're burnt out, and you take that with you. You don't realize it, but it's all in every fiber of your body. So whatever places you have to go to get the performance, you have to be able to shelve it and do something lighter to balance it out. You just don't want to go down that dark road for too long, especially if you're on a set like a television show is, months on end. You can do a film and you can be on a film for like 3 weeks, a month, and you're done. But if you're on a series, yeah, and you're on there for like 5-6 months. Season 1 was 2 years because you put COVID in there. It was almost 2 years to film it. So I learned that early on in my career, finding a balance. Yeah.
Terrific. Life is all about good balance.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
so,
sir.
wrapping up here with our final question for you, Bentley.
Yes,
How
sir.
was the new creative lead, David Weiner, able to come in and capture the hearts of Halo fans with season 2?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna be totally honest. I knew it would happen. But you got to understand that even the guy that Stephen Kane that was responsible for season 1, if you look at it this way, it was a monster, and it was such a big monster, and he didn't have anything there was not a season prior to season 1, so even for us to even be able to go through COVID, go through the costumes, the armor, it was the first time we had ever been in it. With all the issues that we had, we got past that to even have something that was presentable. Season 1 was an amazing achievement. So Stephen, what he did, he left a bit of like tentacles, out there at the end of the series. So, you have someone like David come in with his creative team, and then he was able to pick up on, okay, this is compelling. Okay, we're going to change that, and I think it was fantastic. I honestly think it was fantastic what he did, what him and his team did, and hoping that they go on with more seasons and make it even bigger, richer, and more compelling and grittier. It's got to be dark now. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, thank you so much, Bentley, for all of the great messages that you gave us, all the knowledge that you left us, little, as we used to call them, golden nuggets.
Awesome, my brother.
We appreciate you and all the work that you do. And once again, is there any final message that you want to leave to your fans, to the people out there before we wrap it all up, Leo?
No problem. Message that I always tell my fans: I am you, you are me. We are the same. Okay. I just happen to be at a, in a position where I'm on a great big platform where a lot of eyes are seeing me. The same things that make you upset make me upset. The same things that make you sad make me sad. We're the same. And I love you guys. I love you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, thank you. And we love you too, Bentley. We love you too.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, bro.
Of course. And for Paramount Veteran Network, I'm William Gaucher. Take care.